Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Reviewed. Hello my friends and welcome to another recommendations video, and this is a video, y'all, I have been working on and/or you guys have asked for almost 2 years, okay? And it took me a long time to put it together. I had to go back to an old journal. I guess it's a year and a half I've been working on it, because I had to go back to one of my old ideas, because I put little flags on them when there's a video that I haven't filmed yet, or there's one that I'm gathering recommendations for. And it's literally taken me over a year to put together the recs for this one, because I could not find enough for this. But now I have it. And as you can tell by the title, today we're doing not one single parent, but 2 single parent romances, okay? Or double single parent, whatever you want to call it. It is something I absolutely love reading in romance, because I love single moms and I love single dads. And how about those two find love together? How great is that going to be? So I have 9 recommendations of this for you. And a few of them are books I talk about absolutely constantly because I adore them. But yeah, this one has been asked for so many times in my book recommendation form, and I'm like, or in my video rec form, and I'm like, guys, I'm working on it. I gotta find enough recommendations, right? And sometimes, you know, when I want to do a video, I only have 4 or 5 recommendations for it. And for me, I just like having about 10 to do a video with. If it's a taboo or an oddly specific rec, sometimes I don't mind. But with this one, I felt like there should be more of them, but like there's just not. There's just not as many of them as I hope there would be, right? But today we have, I guess I only have 8 of them. Okay, see, there's me getting all excited. I have 8 recommendations for this, but still, I think that's enough. And I have a lot to say about all of these ones, so hopefully you guys will be pleased. And by all means, pretty please, if you have more recommendations for double single parents, drop them down below, because that is what I want, man. I want us to have as many of these as we can, even though I only have 8 of them to talk about here. So let's go ahead and dive in. I do, as usual, I have my notes right here, because a few of these are ones that I read them quite a while back. And again, some of them are ones I've read multiple times because I adore this trope so much. But we'll start off with one that is definitely a throwback. It came out almost 5 years ago now, and it's actually a historical romance. And it's a prequel to The Wilds of Window Castle by Eloisa James. This was a series that I loved so much. And she put out this, it's a bit longer than a novella, but it's a bit of a shorter novel. When you buy the book, it looks like it's bigger, but that's because it has like an extra story in it. But this one is about how Hugo, and wow, that's the French version. That's not going to help me. So we have Ophelia, who she is a widow, and her daughter is very young. And she adores her daughter, and she doesn't want to marry anyone who isn't going to treat her first child like with respect, right? Because that is something that she really like fears, is that if she were to marry again, that her child would become kind of like the unwanted, like extra part of it. And so she's very resistant to marrying again. And then she meets Hugo, who he is a widow and a divorcee. So he's had 2 wives, all right? One wife died, and then the second wife ran off with her lover and left their children behind. And so now he has 8 children and a dukedom to manage. And I believe that he has children with both wives, if I'm remembering correctly. But he intends to find a bride, but not someone that he's completely in love with. He wants someone to help guide his children, because again, he's got a dukedom, he's got all these kids, and so he's looking for someone who, you know, would be willing to be his duchess and be able to help him get his daughter into society. And so they just have this really sweet romance, because once he sees her, it starts to make him believe in love again. You know, he's very jaded that his second wife had ran away with her lover and just like abandoned him there. And I don't know, it was just really beautiful, because he is kind of like a young man all over again, falling for her. And the way that he treats her daughter, I just love so much. I love how he falls in love with the little girl as well and welcomes her in. And it just doesn't feel like something you normally see for the time that this historical romance is set. But I just really love it. He brings her in. She's just as loved as all of his children are. And it's a beautiful story. And I just love Eloisa James. And this one, as I said, this one is a prequel, but it did come out like once the Wild of Windows were like all out, which was kind of nice. Because here's the thing too that happens quite often is when you have a hero who's a duke and he has kids, like, and he's the dad in that series. Like, usually one of the stories in that series is like one of those men becoming the next duke. And so often the father is like killed off, right? And so I really appreciated in like this series that like the duke is very much still around. You know, he's got his son would then be like a viscount, I believe, after that. So, you know, it's like he doesn't have to, like, we didn't have to like kill the dad off to make things interesting for the rest of the characters. You know, there aren't any dukes that have dads. We'll just say that. So, but he's the duke. He's around. We love him. And he's such a great father throughout the whole series. And I love the kind of like stepmother that Ophelia is for everybody as well. I really like that. Okay, next up we have Broken Dreams by Corinne Michaels. And this one was a part of her Whitlock family series. This one was book 2, and I loved this one. This one was actually one of the books too that made me want to start this list, which is why it's like near the top of the list. But again, I had to wait a long time until I had enough recs for it. But this one involves some fake dating. We have an like military pilot who's now a widow. And I can't remember for this one if the heroine was a widow or if she's a divorced mom. Let me look at my review of it and see what I said. They both have lost their spouses, okay? And both of their kids are 3 years old. And they're both dealing with nosy and well-meaning family members. So there we go. So it becomes beneficial for them to fake date to basically get everyone to stop trying to set them up with people. And it's just so cute how they do that. And then their kids just love each other, which is great. I really liked Grady too, because he is a like private pilot. That's what he became after being ex-military. So there are a lot of like events that he needs to go to. And so he brings her along. And it just kind of keeps all the single ladies and some of the married ladies off of him and stuff like that. So yeah, I love seeing how they are with each other, and even though it's hard and they're both afraid of loving someone new, I really like how they're actually able to relate with having had a great love before and lost it, and that they're both willing to like try again with each other. I think that that is really well done in this story for sure. And then, since I have my computer up and this one is there, I of course want to talk about the one that I actually just finished, which was The Way We Win by Tia Louise. I just talked about this in the last weekly wrap up. And this one is about Coach Jack Bradford. And he is the best friend's brother to Allie, I think her name is. And she has moved to this town, and she has a son who is actually Jack's star quarterback in the team, and he also has a really young daughter, and so he is like a mentor to her son, you know, and is his coach. And then Allie is like just absolutely loves the little girl, and the little girl is obsessed with her, and so these two are being pushed together by their family and friends as well. Allie also has an abusive ex who is just getting out of prison, so she is kind of needing to be protected from that loser, so that's also a thing we're dealing with. And so he ends up showing up at her door and sleeping on her couch a lot of nights to protect her. And it's really cute too, because like her son is really good with his little girl, and so there's just all the warm and fuzzy feelings for everyone, okay? Like, it's adorable. We love it. We're here for it. And this one was so sweet. Also, Coach Bradford has some secret, like, kinkiness that he likes. And he was previously shamed by his ex for liking kink. And so he's very afraid to share that with Allie. Or not, like, very afraid, but, like, he's hesitant to share what his desires are. But what he doesn't know, man, is she's a librarian and she's read things. So she knows what can happen and what intrigues her, and she's definitely willing to play with him a little bit, okay? Like, it is delicious for sure. Okay, another one that I read quite a while ago. This is one by Harlow Ray. So this is called Mine for Yours. And again, since this is one I read a long time ago, I'm just going to read the back to this one. I believe this is a like dead husband's best friend type of one. But they also both have kids. So let me read the back of this one to you. This says, I didn't expect to see Riley Creed after her brother's funeral. That's the initial reason my jaw hangs slack when she walks into Bent Petal a month later. The loss of my friend hit me hard, but that's nothing compared to the crash she's endured. Grief and misery still shadow her every move, but she's not alone. A little boy about the age of my daughter clings to her side, and their shared pain is too ripe, salt in the wounds. I assume we're about to make a deal and go our separate ways, but this bar was Trevor's pride and joy. What did I say? Did I say dead? Did I say dead husbands, or did I say dead brother's best friend? I can't remember which one I said now, but that's what it is. She wants to honor Trevor's final wishes. How can I possibly stand in her way? Simple, I don't. Our paths collide after that point. The journey forward is messy and complicated, much like us. Maybe there's an exchange to be made after all. Riley just has to be willing to accept the wager. Then I'll trade her broken heart for mine. So this one I love too, because I believe this one is set on the North Shore, if I'm remembering correctly. I believe I'm remembering correctly, because a lot of Harlow Ray's books are set like in the Midwest and in Minnesota and stuff, which is cool, because I actually met Harlow Ray for the first time at the North Iowa Book Bash. I actually saw her 2 years in a row there. And I actually have a signed copy right here. So yeah, this is one where she ends up, so what they let me explain a few of the parts of the blurb now that it's coming back to me, is that like, so her brother and this guy, which let me look up his name, Riley, what's his name? Rhodes was business partners with her brother, and the brother, you know, like left the business to her. And so what he says is, I'm expecting us to make a deal and go our separate ways, is he assumes that she'll let him buy her out of it, so that she can go on her way. And instead of wanting to get out of the business and like leave it to him, she wants to like kind of co-run it with him. And I remember just really liking it. These two have such great chemistry, and they're both able to kind of help each other grieve too, you know. I don't remember either of their situations for why they're single parents in this one, like just being real. I don't fully remember that. But I do know that, you know, their kids really like each other. And of course, that's going to draw them together, as well as their love for her dead brother as well. Okay, then my absolute, like, probably, let me look at these. Probably my favorite double single parent, okay? Like, I'm looking at the other ones I have to talk about. And even though a couple of those I really like, this is my favorite one, and that is You and Me by Tal Bauer. Yes, this was a 6-star read for me a few years back. I love revisiting it whenever anyone asks for it to be annotated. I adore this couple, okay? This is Luke and Landon, okay? They both have sons who are in high school football together, and Landon Larson is like the shit, okay? He is out being gay, and he had moved to the area they're in Texas, so his son, you know, could go to a school that would be best for him. And Landon kind of heads up kind of like the booster type stuff, so that means they like provide lunch for the team, and they like look after them, and they make sure there are drinks and food and like all the things for the hungry football players. And then we have Luke, who this whole book is told from Luke's point of view, by the way, first person for Luke, who is a widower, lost his wife a couple years back, and him and his son are really like on the outs with each other. They don't speak much, and that is breaking Luke's heart. And what is so beautiful about this story is the way that for Luke, before there's ever anything like romantic that's going to happen here, he so desperately wants to connect with his son again. And he doesn't truly miss his wife that much, we'll be honest. Like, you'll learn some stuff about her and kind of understand why that is. And in my opinion, the wife is the reason that him and the son aren't as close anymore. It hurts a lot. Like, it hurts so much. But he so desperately wants to be close with his son. And so when he gets a letter in the mail that is actually written to his dead wife about the booster club, like, he's at first really annoyed that, like, her name wasn't taken off of stuff. And it's like, why does stuff keep getting sent to my house, and just getting so, like, sad about it, let's just say. But instead he goes to, like, tell that to the booster club, and he meets Landon, who then Landon asks him, like, well, do you want to volunteer? Because it was asking the mom to volunteer to help with the booster club. And Luke is like, okay, fine, maybe this will be a chance to get to know my son better. And so he agrees to help. And Landon, who again is just so warm and welcoming, is like, okay, great, show up at this time and you can help out and it'll be great. And at first, like, Luke is just like, wow, this guy is so happy. Like, why is he so happy? But after just a few times of meeting Luke and seeing how meeting Landon, Luke seeing Landon and seeing him with his kid, he's so envious of the relationship that Landon has with his kid, but he also just likes getting to know them. So this is a, like, strangers to friends, slowly to lovers, because then the more time that Luke spends with Landon, he starts to become enamored with him in more ways than just as a friend, and watching that relationship build is just so beautiful. Now, Landon likes Luke too, but he is very nervous about falling for a guy who appears to be straight for all they know, and he's just really not into being anyone's dirty secret and or being the one to, like, be someone's first if he's just going to be an experiment. And so watching that, you know, this is a very low angst for their relationship, I'll tell you that. The angst that is in this book is about Luke's relationship with his son, and it is so beautiful watching the healing that happens in there. Like, I'm on the edge of tears just even thinking about it, because this book is so beautiful. It's in, I think, my top 5 in the year that I read it, which I think was 2022 at this point. So beautiful. Okay, this book, you guys, is absolute perfection. I have no notes about it. It is beautiful. It's one of the books that, like, I will hear no ill about it. Like, have whatever opinions you want. It's totally fine, but don't tell me. Like, I don't want to hear a single negative word about you and me, because this book breaks me. It breaks me. It's so perfect. And it is 2 dads and their sons, and I would call it gay for you, but that just feels like too much of, like, making it a trope, you know? It's like finding your soulmate and it doesn't matter what their gender is. Like, oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. I love it so much. Okay, then of course, here we go. We have In the Details by Julia Wolf. This one is one I think a lot of people will think of when we mention it. This one came out last year. In the Details was out, I believe. Or was it early this year already? No, it was last year. It was last year. And this was book 1 in the Mile High Billionaire series, which, by the way, book 3 is coming in August. I'm so excited. And this one is about Jake and Clara. And Clara is actually the sister to Luca from the Harder They Fall series, which we love to see. And Clara is a single mom because she found out her husband was an absolute loon. If you read the previous series, you'll find out what an absolute lunatic her husband was. And so she has an adorable little girl, and she is just, I believe she's 38, and she is just living her best life. Working for the family business. She's a billionaire. She's a badass. But one of her guilty pleasures is to take her motorcycle for a drive. Her family is actually known for their motorcycles. Anyway, the DeRossi, or the Rossies. Rossi Motors is what it is. and she goes for a drive. And at the beginning of this book, we see her having a tryst with a man that she'd met before when she would go for a ride, and they have a one-night stand, and we see them, and it is just the hottest thing ever. But they don't even share their like full names with each other or anything. They'll meet up at this bar. It's only been a few times, and will have sex and then go on their way. Okay, so she doesn't know a lot about this guy named Jake. But it turns out that Jake Hayes, him and his brother, their business is trying to make a deal with Rossi Motors. But that's not the first place that she sees him. The first place she sees him is when her car has trouble, when she's trying to get her kid home at the end of the day, and they end up having to stop at a mechanic, and Jake happens to be working. Well, it happens to be one of the few days of the month that he actually works in the mechanic bay or in the like fix bay or whatever, but he is there working, and she and him don't have the best of an interaction when they meet each other in real life. Things don't go that well. But then they meet up again, and this time it's when him and his brother show up at Rossi Motors for a meeting with Clara and her brother and some other people on the exec team. And the two of them, like, now Jake is like, well, maybe you should let me take you on a date because we keep running into each other and we need to see what's really going on between the two of us. And she's very hesitant for that, but also she's really drawn to him as well. Now, he keeps it a secret, actually, that he's a dad until a very awkward moment in the book. And I will say, Jake, you didn't do yourself any favors in that regard. But him and Clara are just absolute fire together. I love their relationship. I love how they both decide to give love a second chance. And their kids are both adorable. He actually had a like teen pregnancy. So his daughter, I think, is already like 13 or 14. And he's 33. Clara's 38. She also does have a bit of a problem with the age gap to start with, which is kind of funny. But yeah, I believe he's 33 and she's 38. And he's like, it's really not that big of a deal. Like, what's the problem? But yeah. Okay, then we have another one that's a bit of a, I mean, it's not like a super throwback, but it feels like it because this series, like, I just feel like it was older. But anyway, there's Full Throttle by Melanie Moreland. And this is actually the 5th book in the, wow, I just forgot the name of the series. Girl, what's your problem? It's not written on the book, which is super annoying. What is it? Is it Max Restoration or Reynolds Restoration? There we go. This is book 5 in the Reynolds Restoration series. And this one is about Dom Salvatore and about Cherry Gallagher, okay? So Dom is one of the dudes who is a mechanic. He's a new mechanic in town, and he's working at Reynolds Restoration, if I remember correctly. And then we have Cherry Gallagher, who's actually the mom of one of the women we've seen in a previous one. And so she has a fully like grown daughter. So like she is a single mom. And then with our hero, he actually has a daughter who the mother of that child kept him away from her. So he actually doesn't find out about her until in this book. And the way that Cherry really like stands by him and is like, you deserve to have time with your child, and really helps him kind of navigate those waters. I just really love that. This one, you can read this as a standalone, even though it's book 5, because it's not as interconnected with the others. Like, even though Cherry is the mom of a character, and by all means, I'm not saying you shouldn't read the other ones. Like, you definitely should. But there definitely is, like, you can read this one as a standalone as well. It's also a later in light romance. I think they're both in their 40s, if not... He might even be in his like 50s. I can't remember. But yeah, it's a later in light romance as well. And it's just so sweet. I mean, Melanie Moreland writes, even her Mafia is sweet. So I highly recommend this one. The audiobooks are really good for her books as well. I really like them. And then the last one I have to mention is this one, which was also one of the books that made me want to make this video when I had first read it. And... oopsie. That is Hooked on You by Nikki Ash. So this is book 2 in the Love and Whiskey series, and this is another one you can read as a standalone. Each of the books, like, I think they all work for the same business, but they're pretty like segmented. Like the books don't interlock that much. But this one is about Kira and Ryder. And Kira is raising her daughter as a single mom, and she's actually having to stay in her van some nights. Her ex is giving her a lot of hard times. And so she's just really like, she has an abusive ex, and if she were to have a solid place where she was living and put out a restraining order, that's the thing about restraining orders, is you have to tell the person where they're not allowed to go. And so then that person knows where you are. And if it's someone who doesn't give two fucks about the law, they're going to come for you. So she's definitely on the run. She ends up getting a job though at the business where Ryder works, and she's working in the like nursery or the daycare there, which is great because her little girl can then like be there, and she can be like taking care of other kids while her daughter's being taken care of. And this is for the daycare at this business. And then there's Ryder, who we see in the beginning of this book that there's this woman who basically got herself pregnant. That is one thing you'll read if you read book 1 in the series first, is like how this happened to Ryder. And when he, you know, has this new child, he absolutely loves his child, but the mother of the child, like, just does not care. Like, she wanted to have a baby by this wealthy billionaire or millionaire so that she could have him on the hook for 18 years. And he's like, girl, we're not doing this. Like, you're not going to use my child against me. You can have a settlement, and then you are out of town. And I really appreciate that about him. Now, I tried to have some empathy for his wife at some points, because at first it seems like she's just really overwhelmed with being a mother, but she very quickly shows her true colors in that she got pregnant to hook him, and now that there's the babies there, she is just expecting to get whatever she wants, and he's like, no, like, you're gonna be a mom, or like, you're out of here. Like, I never promised to love you. Like, you're the one who tricked me into a baby. Like, I love the baby. You are just here, right? So it seems harsh, but when you see the chick, you'll understand. So anywho, there's a cute picture of them all together. He gets to know briefly Kira, because she's the one taking care of some of the littlest kids, which his daughter is one, right? Adorable little sweetie pie. And, you know, he wants to know the woman who's taking care of his kid, and it's so cute. And then one night when he's leaving work, he notices that instead of like leaving the car park, she goes to the top of the parking structure, and like her and her daughter are sleeping in their car, and Ryder is like, honey, no, like, I'm not gonna let you have to do this. He's like, I'm not calling on you, I'm not getting you in trouble, but like, don't do this. Like, you and your baby girl do not have to stay here. So he actually invites her to live with him, and actually invites her to be his live-in nanny, because I guess too, at work, like, there's only one kid who's like the age of his kid, and it's his. And so at work, they're trying to be like, well, we're trying to shuffle the caretakers around, and like, either your daughter can like go up into the next level, like, you know, the practical stuff of it. And so he basically asks her to be his live-in nanny then, and he's like, you can watch both of our daughters, you'll be provided for, and he's like, I'm gonna protect you. And it doesn't take very long for them to fall head over heels, and he's a protective rich daddy who's like, girl, I just want to love you and your kid, and you love my kid, and it's all good. There is some ex drama, of course, both hers and his. But what I did love about this one, though, is normally, you know, other woman, other man drama can be a lot for me. But I actually kind of liked it in Hooked on You because of the fact that they both have it. Like, they both have exes who are being dickheads. And so it doesn't make one of them feel like they're worse off than the other, you know, because they both have ex problems, you know. I don't know. That's always an excuse that one of the others will use, is like, if their ex is causing too much problems, they're like, I should just leave. I should leave. So anyway, all right, so there you go. Those were 8 double single parent romances. Let me know some that I've missed. But yeah, it took me a long time to put this list together, and I'm glad I was finally able to make a video on this, because not only have you guys been asking, but I've been wanting to make it, and I want you to give me more recommendations if you have them. So thank you so much for watching, my friends. I love you so, so, so much. I believe this will be the only weekday video this week. I have one more little trip I'm going on to Duluth, and I won't be getting back until Thursday. And honestly, I'm just telling you, I don't have the energy to pre-film anymore this week. I'm pretty exhausted. So I'm just telling you, there should be a video for Saturday and Sunday still, but I don't know that there will be a Thursday video. So just be prepared. But we'll see how that goes. So thank you so much for watching, friends, and I'll see you next time. Bye.